Hi everyone, the Mature Simmer here. So I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to make an attempt to do an endless mode series in Railroute here. So I'm going to go ahead and start. I think I'm going to use this Netherlands map. I've been looking for something a little bit different. I mean, there's in-game maps and so forth, but was looking for something a little bit different. I don't know why. I was hoping there were more things that weren't in Europe since I'm not in Europe, but there really aren't. This game seems to really have a fan base in Europe, which is fine. But as such, there's a USA map, but it's really kind of terrible. It's like there's 3 levels of cities, and yeah, they're the big cities in the country, but they're not like anywhere aligned properly. It's honestly not even worth, talking about. So I'll just stop at this point. So if you've not played the game before, this really isn't meant to be a tutorial. There's a tutorial series I have. I'm going to link to the playlist up here in the video. Now, keep in mind those tutorials were made a while back, and what you're going to start to see here is in Update 11, which is what I'm on now. They've done a lot of changes, but for the most part, I think that's going to still work to get you going. I may redo or may update the tutorials in the future depending on what I learn, but part of what I want to do here is really start using this game because they have released what I think are a couple interesting updates over the last few months. And update 12 is coming out, I think, at the end of June. So let's take a look at this. The game gives you some useful hints. So you got to grow your railway empire from scratch. You want to build up the contracts. Now some maps will give you contracts, some will not. This one does. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm immediately going to pause. You can see now it's already thrown up a potential new contract for us. But if I go to the active contracts button here, you can see this already has 3 contracts on it. And so I'm going to treat this series a little bit like as if I was doing a live stream, but obviously I'm not live streaming it, at least not at this point. Maybe in the future I'll do something, but I don't think I'm really set up for it. But that's been the challenge and why you honestly haven't seen much in Railroute here, because I struggle to determine the best way to present this game, and I'm thinking just providing half-hour-ish long episodes of me doing stuff as if it was a live stream is what I'm going to do here in Endless Mode. And we'll see what the interest is on the channel and if people have got some suggestions and so forth. Obviously, I'm looking for feedback. So absolutely, hopefully we get some audience engagement here, but I'm looking for something a little more consistent on the channel. And this is a game that I have interest in. I've just been struggling on how to present it effectively. So we can see we've got these 5 contracts, and then down here for the stations, so I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Whenever you click on any station, you're going to see anything that is just a symbol is a train entering. So all of these stations you can see are the ones coming in that that they're starting, but anything with an arrow is showing that it's coming in off the map. So this is an arriving train, where in theory we just had a train leave. Obviously we just started the game, but that's what it's telling us. So in this mode, in Endless Mode, you've basically got this map, and so you can see, I think this is a representation of the major areas of the Netherlands. We've got a lot of areas to expand into. And when I was talking about, for example, the US map, so these are meant to represent terrain, walls, if you want to call it, the tracks can't run through. So for example, like I can go down here to get to these stations, but I can't go out in this area because I would be penetrating the borders. So on the USA map, there just basically were like 3 valleys that went through the nation, and with a few breaks in between, and you would just move trains in and out. It just didn't make sense. I mean, I don't know if this is a better representation of the Netherlands, but maybe just my lack of knowledge of it is like, yeah, this is good enough. You know, and wow, Utrecht, only Dutch station with more than 60 stopping trains per hour. So when we get up to that, I shouldn't say if, my goal is, you know, the reason I picked a map as complex as this is it really allows us an endless possibility to continue this as long as I'm interested, you're interested, and so forth. So this is showing a train arriving. So I'm going to unpause this, and so you can see there we're technically over, which is what the red number is. So this is going to come in here, and you can see at 8 and to 8:01 it's going to sit here in the station, kind of mimicking the ability to load passengers in this case, because we can see it's a COM, it's a commuter train. I think you're able to name the trains and so forth in the future if you want, but right now these just have these names. So we need to get to Eindhoven at some point. So I'm going to go ahead now, and so these are manual signals, which means I have to actually manually interact with them. We can see here we need to get to Eindhoven 3, so I need to change this switch and then go ahead and hit that button. And in the future, when I unlock upgrades and so forth, there's some safeguards that if I tried to flip that switch, so let's go ahead and turn this off and try to do this, like, you know, it will go to that location. Well, I'm trying to keep it going so that we actually get somewhere in this first episode. So we'll let the train go. But if you try to set something up where it's not able to route, it will protect you from your own lack of clarity of what you're doing. So you can see here above the train, when you have it selected, it's giving you the train name, and it's giving us where it's going next. So some trains might have more than the stops this one has. So this basically looks like it goes from Venlo to Eindhoven and then simply turns around and comes right back, and then will leave again whence it came from to begin with. And then we have nothing going on this platform basically until we return, you know, at 8:10 to 8:11. So this is where we can then go here and look and see, is there anything we want to take? Now, this is a good example. This just showed up. So this is a commuter to Roosendaal. But if you see that, I have to buy at least one platform in every contract station. So I first off need to find Roosendaal. So here it is. If I go buy platform, you can see, as I zoom in, increase max station limit. So at this point, I am hitting a limit, and that goes here to the upgrades. So I forget exactly where that is. It may be in the interface. No, automation. Well, I think the easiest way to get there is to go here, and then actually let me close this, and then I think if I, okay, why is it, oh, because I'm not buying. So if I go here, there we go, now it goes to controls, and you can see I need basic dispatcher 1.0 will increase my station limit to 7, and to unlock that I need 5 green trains, these tokens. You obtain those in the game by completing, having a train effectively complete its route. So what that means is I need to stay on time, and so I need to have this come out, and then at the end I'll be awarded a red experience train. Or a green, I don't know. I was looking at red, getting ready to tell you about red, and I think I said red. So a green train. Reds can be earned by different types of things like freights and so forth, but in the upgrades, as we saw here, like I need to unlock freights to even be able to get those contracts, and this gives you some great explanations. So the game's really good, even though the interface can be a bit overwhelming to begin with. It's pretty good if you keep things at speed. And so here you go. I've reached the limit of 3 contracts. They're halted. I can decline things, and then I can also expand my contract limit at some point. But what this is telling me, so for example, in this case, I'm going to decline this so I have room. Similarly here, well, actually I did have that one, so oh well, it's gone. And I'm going to decline this because I'm just not interested right now in adding a contract in. So the challenge you've got is you've got to start expanding your network. So I'm going to go ahead first and build down here, and then I'm going to buy this platform. Now, because I already own this station, I'm not stuck with that limit. So before I have a problem here, though, I'm going to click here, and I'm going to right-click. Oops, let me turn that off, because I was in the buy mode. And now I'm just going to set my signal back. And this is something new in Update 11, where now you get this indicator that is showing COM 6881 in 6 minutes is expected to be here. So these are things that help. They didn't exist in previous versions. So again, if you watch the tutorials that I had linked you to the playlist earlier, you're not going to see that happening because that was part of some of the new updates. So I'm going to go ahead at this point and speed this up a bit so that things move a little bit more and we get a little bit more activity going on. But I'm going to go ahead and slow back down. We're going to see what kind of contract. Okay, because this needs Maastricht. So yes, so I think I did have the issue where I saw this as Hertogenbosch, and but I couldn't get Maastricht or whatever else it was to work there. So the challenge we're going to have is finding a contract that is going to fit within what we have going on, and that's part of why I connected this additional platform, because right now my only source for new trains onto the map is here over at Venlo. So if I don't go ahead and do something to allow more trains to come in, I can't accept a contract from Venlo. So we'll move this over, and now you can see we're hitting on the map. This is the arrival that we are expecting, and then it's going to sit there for a minute, as we can see, till 8:11, so it was a little more than a minute. So the other thing that I think I am going to go ahead and do is I am going to add a manual signal here, because what that is going to give me the benefit of doing, and I've got to be careful because I've only got so much money, but that way I can have something coming from here and wait while something goes through these switches. So that gives me that added benefit. Alright, we are still moving. I thought I had slowed myself down, because we're going to have another train coming in right away. If we look at that, see, so we can see this one is much more involved. It's in essence a round-trip commuter that is going to go around the map here and basically go to all the stops, or all the locations at various platforms, but still come back to Venlo 1. So setting up Venlo 2 is important for being able to do something in the future. So now you can see we got 1 green experience point. I need 5 of those to be able to, say, update or unlock freight contracts. And I may not want to do freight contracts right away because, frankly, this is a bit of a complex, or a compact is the word I'm looking for, map right now, and a network that we're on. So until I can expand, I really probably want to actually get to the point where I can expand my platforms, because like if I can go down here, I've got a lot more sources. Like both of these will have incoming trains, so in theory I'll get new contracts from them because trains will be coming in. So shortly here at 11 or 8 to 12, we're going to have another train, and then you can see very quickly we've got something else happening. So if I do this, so you can see this bar is more complex, it doesn't actually show Eindhoven because there's too much, so it's got these dashed lines here that are going to go ahead and give us that info. So we know we've got to go to Nijmegen. I have no idea if I'm saying that right, so if there's any Dutch people on here that live in the Netherlands and are watching this, go ahead and try to correct me. Alright, so we're waiting 1:20 for that to get going. If another contract comes up, I could potentially run it here, but I'm going to want to wait because I need this to be clear, or I need to set up another switch, which I could also do. Alright, so we'll go back to real time so we can see now the problem here is this is literally going up here. So I can leave this here. I can eventually accept this contract, but right now if I were to put that on the line, I'm going to have a problem because it's going to be in its own way. So let's go ahead and let this proceed, knowing that we have something else coming. So it's like maybe here is a good spot to insert another contract. Now I know I can use this signal because it's a straight line, and then I can see I'm going to Eindhoven 3. So I can route this all the way here, and then at this point I'm going to wait and see what's going on. So again, I can't do anything with Maastricht right now. But right now I'll hold on to the contract because as I have more trains complete, this might work out. You know, and similarly here, my real question is, do I put another signal in? I think that might make sense. I'm just not sure where I'm going to want to put it. Let's say I put it there. But what that does is it gives me a block that I could run a train into here if I have, say, something going that way. So like now, when I have, perhaps if I accept this contract, I could run a train here and hold it and maybe still make things work properly. But this is the challenge you have with the game is you're trying to kind of work things out, and you can see there's buttons like adjust timetable, but you need to unlock that capability later on. So in the beginning in the game, you do have a lot of kind of waiting and just trying to earn your way to an appropriate network. So now here I have to go to Eindhoven 2. See, and this is where now I really need to kind of think through this, because what's going to happen, like you can see, I've kind of got the network a bit bogged down right now, which is once again the benefit of expanding over time, because I can run a double line here as well, which will give me some options. But let's see, I'm just trying to figure out what makes the best sense at this point to go ahead and do. So you can see, like, once we get through this, like, I can now impact this switch. The train has progressed enough that it's no longer locking things, because right now, like, if I try to do the switch, you can see it's telling me it's locked. I can't do anything. This train has now left. So let's see, what did we get? See, now this is a long one, but the target speed is high. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to accept this, and now it's going to tell me I can set up recurrent contracts. The first train is a trial train, where basically we're going to run our contract, we're going to set our platforms, and we're going to make sure that we get the best result we can, because that's going to determine what we're going to get paid. So as you can see here, this is the key. Do not accept contracts too fast, too quickly. That's why I let it sit there. Always check the station timetables if you can run it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to accept this on station platform 2. And then I need to run this up here to Nimjin. You know, but the challenge is it's going to sit here for a minute. So this train's coming down. You know, this is what I'm trying to figure out with my train timetables, to make sure that they intertwine appropriately. Because you can see, for example, here I've got 2 trains coming in very quickly around 8:40. I don't know that we're going to get that far in this episode. We may end up covering that or looking at that next time. But this is the challenge of, you know, what I've got to look at. So right now I'm okay waiting. All right, and an inner city is Venlo to Utrecht to Arnhem. Again, we don't have Arnhem, so we're going to decline this. Because we took the contract and we're working, it opened up another slot. So the challenge here with the 72 mile per hour is my tracks have a maximum speed of 40 kilometers per hour. Sorry, I think I said miles per hour. So while this has a payout of 4,000, it's expecting to average 72. I can only go 40, and again, I'm not going 40 the whole time. I'm waiting at stations, I'm accelerating, I'm decelerating. So this is a bad contract as well. But this one I'm going to hold on to because it's 60, and that's usually the slowest you can get. So this one, all right, so this is a challenge potentially as well, because you can see this is now going from Eindhoven. It's going to head up here, and then this is doing the opposite loop. So I'm hoping I can stay out of the way. I'm not even sure this is going to work. But now this is where the signal comes in. Like, I can move this train to here at this point so that I don't have to delay it. And if it starts to slow down, it'll be there. And you can see here I've got the timer that's showing me in 6 minutes or whatever. I'm going to go ahead and need to be there. So the good news is we're heading out here. Let me speed up a bit. I think at this point I've got more than enough, even though we got a new contract. I'm not at a point where I really need to look at it. Alright, so the good news is, like, now I can do this and I can finish that up to Venlo. Nothing else is coming in. But what I need to have happen is I need this one to get here and clear before the other one is coming. So the best thing will be that they're going to have very similar stop times. And then, you know, this one will stay ahead, and I should be okay. So let me slow this down, because now, see, this is going to wait 2 minutes, though. Interesting. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Because my concern is, well, this one should still be okay, so they're going to leave at about the same time. So it might simply be because of the time it got there, that it took 4 minutes from 8:24 to 8:28 till it got to the platform. It may have to wait a minute. You may not be able to do anything differently. So now the challenge here, and this may not let me, well, it will, but we might get an error if it takes off before I'm clear of the station. So again, here I can clear this through the signal, and that way if something else is coming, I can wait. But the way I know that is I go back here, and I don't have any other trains coming in, so I think I'm going to be okay. And what I probably don't want to do is have this one come back and leave through Venlo 1, because I can see here at 8:38 to 8:39 I have a train coming in on those tracks. So I could use it if I had to, but that might be really tempting fate. So let me go back here. We'll take a look. We're down to 12 seconds there. So, again, we've got Venlo and Imgen. I mean, I'm really better off just kind of, I think, running this network and just getting more stations. And eventually, because I'm going to get 2,000 for every successful train I have. So there you can see, they're moving together, but sometimes you get penalized because this technically isn't open. Yeah, see, it went to an occupied segment. So that's actually not good, because that cost us 500. But at this point, so what likely that means is I'm probably going to turn this contract down, because my trial train has just showed me I've got a problem. So when I accepted it in, it's not going to work. So I'm going to have to look for another one, but that's where the benefit is, like maybe having this one here. The difference is I think this trial contract was for a lot more money. Let me see. Because this is my trial. Yeah, see, my max is 6,000. And on this one, my max is only 2. So I'm going to decline it for that purpose. I don't have the station. I'm declining that. Same thing. I'm going to decline that. So I'm going to need another contract to come up that's going to pay me 6,000. That was a really good payout. Unfortunately, my trial train is showing me that I have a problem. It's already cost me $500 or whatever currency we're going to assume we have here. And so now this is going to sit for about a minute. So again, I can clear it to there. And then this needs to go to Venlo 1. So that's, again, you got to be careful, because otherwise you'll get a penalty for sending it to the wrong platform. But we'll move this forward a bit, and you'll see it's going to stop for a minute. So now it changed 8:33 to 8:34, and then at the end it's going to give us some information. So let's see what this looks like once we get there. And that might then be a good time to just say, you know what, we've done enough for the initial episode. We've already created a problem. Let's speed it up a little bit more. So there we go. So now it goes to the pause. So we successfully completed it, but again, because we could only average 30 kilometers per hour, we're only getting 50% of the payout. So this is, the issue that we would have is if I took that 2,000 contract, I'd likely at best end up with 1,000 payout. And this then now is telling you that you need to go ahead and you're going to have to run 5 trains if you take that. And then here are the penalties, the delay and the wrong platform. So the penalty we have on the other contract is 500 for the delay. But in this case, we're going to decline this, which means we've tested the contract, but it's not worked out for us. So I'm going to go ahead at this point, and we're going to call it and say we're in a good spot here to stop. And we're going to pick it up here next episode, where we've got these 2 additional trains coming in, and hopefully I'll be able to get a contract that is going to let us expand things. But the nice thing is right now I've got 2. I should, once this train finishes, I'll get a 3rd. So I'll be able to look at things with 5 upgrade experience points shortly, and maybe we'll get that far as well next episode and make a determination. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, certainly drop a like. If you're not a subscriber and this kind of content, especially about Railroute, is interesting to you, I'd encourage you to subscribe to the channel so that you can easily see what's coming up. There's a lot of other sims that I'm working with regularly at this point. Right now it's farming, trucking, and the PGA Tour sim are kind of the key ones, but I'm trying to get this into the mix because I'd like to do that, and then I'll certainly bring others back and forth here and there. Train Simulator will definitely pop in every once in a while. Just depends what I'm feeling like getting into. But I've been away from Railroute for a long time, and I've been watching these updates come in and have really had some interest. But as I said, it seems like it should be some kind of a live stream thing, but that's just not the platform I have here on YouTube. But give me feedback of what you think, and maybe this works for just you guys watching it and participating, and in the future we can look at expanding it where there'll be some live chat and so forth. But right now there wouldn't be a whole lot to be chatting about, so I think we're okay to begin with. So hope to see you next time, and goodbye for now.